And joining me here in the studio to talk more about Israeli politics is Jeremy Saltan, who's an advisor for the New Right Party, and our senior correspondent, Owen Alterman. Thank you both so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. Jeremy, I'll start with you with the New Right Party. We've just heard that it is planning to have party membership. How much do you believe this, in fact, if it does, will bring voters?
Well, I think party membership drives is one of the things that you like to see during an election campaign. It brings color, it brings action. It's something that's going to have a lot of people following closely what's happening with the party. And for people who did not believe that we were going to go ahead and run independently. I know there have been a lot of voices we've heard, whether it's from Smotrich or otherwise, doubting really our commitment to the fact that we are going to run alone. This puts it to rest, all of those questions. So I think for really so many reasons, this is a good idea at this time.
Now, Jeremy, you say you're going to run independently, but your party's also been on the record saying that you're interested in finding ways to combine. How do those fit together? Are you going to be running on your own? Are we going to see a slip just for the New Right when we get to March 2nd? Or are you going to be part of a larger group?
You know, the minister, the defense minister, Naftali Bennett, did mention when he said that we are going to run independently that we are open to joining with various other elements. We know that there are a lot of parties that used to be on the right that don't exist anymore. Kulanu does not exist anymore. Zehut does not exist anymore. Perhaps people who used to be on those lists, people who were affiliated with those parties, those are possible things that we'll look at.
So you're going to look at bringing in new names and bringing in new voters. You're not looking, and you're ruling out merging or running jointly with other lists and other parties.
I don't see it as a probability that we will run with existing parties that ran in the last election in September. Anything is possible in Israeli politics. But Owen, I don't see that being a probability, because you have to go ahead and look at what happened, and you have to learn from the results. And one of the opportunities in this third election is really for the right to pick up a lot of the votes that we left on the floor.
But what about the dangers of these sort of smaller parties splitting up, running by themselves? How concerning is that?
So, again, like I said, what we need to do is figure out as a bloc how we're not going to leave votes on the floor. Otzma wasted 85,000 votes for the right-wing bloc. If they run together with the Jewish Home, along with the National Union, as they did in the April election, that's 5 seats. We know that already. The Tzomit Party, which under Green won 15,000 votes. Now that's not even a mandate. That's about a half a mandate, where in the September election it was 36,000 votes.
Are you guys open to running jointly on a list with Otzma Yehudit?
No, I don't see that happening.
So you're ruling that out?
I do not see any scenario in which you have Otzma and Hayamin HaChadash running on the same list. I just don't see that as a possibility.
All right, and we also have heard today reports coming in that Tzipi Livni is considering a political comeback, joining the Blue and White Party, perhaps. How do you expect that working out?
Look, Sarah, this was brought up in the last election campaign, or 2 election campaigns ago. I've already lost track, and the Blue and White leadership at that point ruled it out, feeling that she was more of a liability for their political strategy than she was an asset. Look, Tzipi Livni made a huge contribution to Israeli politics over a significant period of time in a number of different parties, as she's often been made fun of for, but still a very important contribution to Israeli politics. I think the big challenge for her is I think she's seen in some sense as more a part of the past than the present or future. On the other hand, look, if Blue and White feels that its ranks can be strengthened by having another female figure, they don't have any senior female figures in their ranks, and if they think she can bring some votes, I guess they'll go for it, but there certainly are some risks for them too.
All right, Owen, Jeremy, stay with me. We are going out for a short break, but when we come back, we'll be continuing this conversation as Israel is heading into a third round of elections. All of that, plenty more when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are discussing Israeli politics here tonight on I-24 News as Israel gets set to go to a third round of elections in just under a year. And joining me here in the studio is Jeremy Saltan, who's an advisor for the New Right Party, and our senior correspondent, Owen Alterman. 78
days to go to elections, you said?
78 days.
There we go.
So exciting. All right, we were talking about the New Right Party. Another thing I wanted to bring up, the new Defence Minister, Naftali Bennett, has released a press statement saying that there will be some new surprises revealed. Do we know what this may be?
Well, if I reveal them, they won't be surprises.
Come on.
So I'm sorry, Sarah and Owen, but you're not going to get it out of me.
Give us a few hints.
Categories, new names for the list.
You're not going to get the surprises out of me. Everything in due time. We did say there's 78 days left, so you can't go ahead and let everything out so early. We have to let the calendar play itself out. But I think we will space them in a way where it'll keep everyone on their seat. Of course, the beginning is the membership drive, which I think is very interesting. No other party has announced they're doing a membership drive this election.
Are you going to hold primaries for your list with that new membership role?
I know that is something that Naftali has said that he wants to do eventually. I don't think within the current time period that that's something that is going to be possible. We're talking about pretty much a month before we have to give in the lists. The deadline comes out the 14th and 15th of January. I think it's a very, very small scale. Even though we're opening up the party membership now, I'm not quite sure that we're going to be able to throw in an entire primary within that time period.
You're looking at new big names for your list? Are those some of the surprises?
Well, you know, obviously, any leader of any party is going to look for big names if they can bring them. Unfortunately, a lot of good people don't necessarily want to go into politics. A lot of times it's very hard to find people who are involved in politics and convince them to go ahead and take a more senior role. This is a third election. We don't know if we're going to avoid a fourth election. So maybe some people are going to wait for the fourth one.
You never know. I'd like to talk now about the Likud party. The primary's set now for December 26. We do know that Benjamin Netanyahu brings voters to the Likud party, but Gideon Saar, he looks to bring voters to the right-wing bloc. Tell me, who will be better?
Well, if you're going to ask Benny Gantz, he really, really hopes that Netanyahu wins this primary.
We're asking you.
Right, but I'm saying, first of all, we have to just put that out there that if Gideon Saar does win the primary, and I don't think that he will, but if he does, I mean, Blue and White is in a lot of trouble because they've built their entire platform really on being the anti-Netanyahu party. But yeah, if you're going to ask me, Owen, who I think it's quite obvious that when you're looking at the majority of the polls that have been taken out that have done the various scenarios, that the Likud for themselves, I'm not a Likud official, the Likud themselves do better under Netanyahu as they do versus what they do under Saar. Of course, there are polls that show that when Saar gets more seats, that Yamina Hadash gets more seats as a result of Saar being at the head of Likud. So, I'm not going to say that that's not something that I'm not looking at as well, but we have to look at what's best for the right-wing bloc. And I think that we will see as time goes on what that's going to be, but most likely it's a moot point since Netanyahu is most likely going to win it. He's been endorsed by over 20 MKs. There's not one minister that has endorsed Gideon Saar. He does have a few MKs who have backed him. Of course, today, Chaim Katz backing him is a very big win as well. But when it comes down to it, if you talk to the Likud member on the street, they very much love Netanyahu, and I just don't see really a pathway for Gideon Saar to win this.
Well, the countdown is well and truly on. Jeremy Saltan, Owen Alterman, thank you both so much. Always a pleasure.